All right, welcome back to episode 24 of the Real Estate Huddle, where today we're going to be talking about how to prep your home for sale. We're going to be talking staging. We're going to be talking some feng shui. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as we know.
And we're gonna talk about some really good stuff so that you can maximize the value of your home. And sometimes this stuff's just nice to know, just to live in it a little more simply, so that you can enjoy your house more. So we'll get it kicked off. Just general little tips and tricks as far as staging goes. We can go there and talk about what we would do. So I'll kick it off and just say, I think some people don't understand that, like, when a house is vacant, it looks small and tiny and cold, right? And so, like, staging, the whole purpose of staging is to put the correct amount of furniture in spaces so that it makes sense of spaces. Sometimes homes have awkward spaces, but some good staging can make that awkward space look like something useful, right? And so getting use out of all your square footage brings value to the point where we see staging add 10 times what you pay for staging sometimes. Like, you'll stage a home for $2,000 and make 20 extra because of the emotional impact that it creates on the home.
So when I thought about this, something you say a lot, I think we've said it on these podcasts before, it's like, it is an emotional decision, someone buying a house. Let
Absolutely.
it be. That's fine. So having it be small and vacant and empty, bad emotional attachment.
Yep.
Showing, I'm sorry, finish my thought and I'll show.
Yeah, go ahead.
Showing all of your photos of you might be a very powerful emotion, but not the one that's going to get them to buy a house.
Right.
So staging is a way to visualize something in it sounds negative, I don't mean it negative, in kind of a vanilla way that won't evoke negative, but will allow them to create that emotional attachment.
I'm going to come back to that. Jackson, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, piggyback right off that, like, having all of your personal photos and things like that on the walls might not be the best thing, because people want to be able to see themselves living in that home and them and their kids in the backyard, etc. So with staging, I think it just makes it easier for people to see themselves living here, see what their lifestyle would be like, what their furniture could be, etc.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I want to hit on is when you stage, typically you are decluttering your house for that staging. You're depersonalizing that house for staging, and you're cleaning that house for staging. Those three things together are by far probably the most important things that you can do to sell your house, especially that depersonalizing. So when we're talking about personal pictures, when we're talking about all that stuff, that might, hit the emotions of some people, but nobody really wants to
My
see.
point is it's going to hit them negatively.
Yeah, but in most cases it will, because they want their stuff on the walls. They want their furniture in the house. So when you're staging, you're putting in a stylish, trending, whatever in that house, so that it appeals to the masses, and that's what we're trying to do. And ultimately, that declutter, depersonalizing, cleaning falls under that, and it's just, you can't go wrong with those three things.
But what if I paid $10,000 for this family portrait?
Put it in a storage.
Why?
Put it in
up
your
in your
pot.
new
It's an
house.
expensive piece of furniture.
Well, suck it up. That's what we told you to do. So,
That's another thing with art. If you have art or things on your wall that might not appeal to everyone, it could be graphic or anything like that, definitely take those down. Your own style is your style, but
and typically what we like to do when we come in and do a listing kind of overview or presentation for you is we love walking through your home and saying, this is what we would do. And in some cases you may have an art piece, like let's say the one behind Jackson here. So if you have an art piece like that, it's like, that's not personal. That's a pretty good art piece to keep in your home. Let's keep it there.
Not level. Definitely not
We
level.
actually have,
But it is good.
yeah, we actually have canvases that we love to bring in to replace the photos that that are a little bit more personal. But if you have a really nice portrait or a painting that we're like, yeah, let's keep it. That's a pretty good focal piece for this house. It's not personal, but it's a beautiful piece, and it centers around our staging as well. Then we'll keep it. But when you have faces and some more familial things that are more personal to you, it's probably gonna be better that you put those away. And
here's
store
the
them.
reason why. Because when a buyer's walking through a home and they see all your personal photos, psychologically, their subliminal messages that are going through their mind are, man, this is a great house for them.
This is not my house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so by depersonalizing and neutralizing that artwork, then all of a sudden they're thinking, wow, this is a great house for us, right? And they're considering that. So that's key. That's one of the biggest keys to it. And not just, some people have, like Jackson, like you were saying, I've been through houses where people have traveled all over the world and they have a lot of art from possibly Africa or like the lot of just Southwestern type art, stuff like that. That's great. But you got to think about what people are wanting, right? And what styles are at right now, and what is the style throughout the house that we're trying to portray. Because sometimes like the more of those maybe earth tones or colors that are kind of drowning out the modernness of your house, they could be hurting you, where we could do some things to dress it up and just remove some of that and put some neutral things that can really help accentuate like how updated your house is. And everything else around that looks better when you do that.
You know what staging helps as well is photography. Which is another huge thing that I think there's a lot of realtors out there that undervalue the power of a picture. So if you can have your house staged and ready to go before photography, that's ideal, because then you get a really good photographer. Our photographer is awesome. They edit the photos really well, and but when you have it staged and it's the pictures they just look perfect. Like that's the first image that somebody sees of your house is on the MLS, unless they drive by it somehow. But then they only see the curb appeal. When they look it up on the MLS, that is the first impression of the house, right? So if you can have it staged, you have a killer photographer. The pictures look awesome. They're edited. They're not over edited, but they're edited enough that it's like you walk in the house, you're like, okay, the pictures hold up. That is huge. I can't tell you how many buyers I go showing houses to that they see the pictures like, I really want to see this house. We walk in the house and it's like, oh man, this does not do the pictures justice.
Another episode on just the negative appeal of like that.
Oh man, yeah. That's right. So when you are interviewing real estate agents for listing your home, I would definitely look at who they use for photography, who they use for home staging, who they use to clean the houses if we do that, and those other things, because it makes a huge difference.
Stagers are a unique breed. Like I think I'm a pretty well-tasted individual, but I would not come up with what they've done for us, and it's great. I'm saying it again, but it is eminently presentable and it's attractive, but it's not taking away anything from what you're trying to show off.
Staging is an art form.
I really,
100%.
I found myself very impressed. I've used one gal twice. She happens to be the most affordable as well, and I think she does a great job.
Yeah. Stagers are very creative. Leave the creative to those people. And on the other side of it, I think buyers sometimes are not very creative or imaginative. So, yeah, like you were saying with pictures or just showing the home, when they see a whole bunch of stuff in there, or you have your Southwestern cowboy basement, you might say, oh, well, they can just picture if this basement was in their style. A lot of people, frankly, have a hard time with that. And like I've had buyers who the kitchen counter was painted purple, which is a weird color. And they were like, I love everything about this house, but I'm probably going to pass because of the kitchen counter, which obviously you could paint that kitchen counter a neutral color, but that creativity to imagine how the space will look sometimes is harder to come by with buyers.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just there's a few things. So feng shui, right, is an ancient Chinese art of like
Somebody just looked this up.
trying to like create harmony in your home, basically, right? Is the principle. And so there are a few ways that you can do that, and just basic principles for real estate, for staging. And a lot of staging law is kind of based on feng shui. And so some of the things that I've learned over the years is the eyes like to look at odd numbers. And so anytime you have a surface, we want to clean off whatever is on the surface, declutter. Think of your home, if you're selling a home, like a retail store, right? Instead of living in it, you live in a house one way and then you set it up to sell a different way. It's got to be like a retail store. When you walk into a retail store, you smell something great when you walk in through the vents, right? Typically, and then you go in and everything looks new. It looks in place. It's organized, but there's not too much in one space. It's spaced out properly, and so that's kind of what you want to do with your home. And the way to do that is take off the surface stuff that's on top of dressers, on top of shelves, platforms, and then either have 1, 3, or 5, depending on how big it is, things like decorative items on those shelves. And so the eyes like to see that rather than just pairs of 2 or 4, right? Keep it odd, which is kind of funny, but it works. And so that's one thing. The other thing is keeping a path to your front door clean and clear is something that's really good for curb appeal. So we don't want like brushry or like, limbs from trees or bushes or anything like that, mulch hanging out over the side, making sure that walkway is clear and we have nothing blocking that. That's another really good thing. As far as just the placement of furniture in rooms, it's funny, but like feng shui is all about having a command position in your room. So if you're in a room and your office is in there, angling the desk towards the front door makes it so that you can see who's coming in and out. Kind of like if you were at war, right? You want to know when your enemies are coming or when your 3-year-old is coming to make noise and like flick yogurt at you. Yeah, exactly.
High ground's always best.
So that's one way to do that, is to create that command position, right? Is what they call it. And then just decluttering, having the right amount of furniture in each room. A stager can help you do that, but like when you have a king size bed in a tiny room, it looks tiny, right? But if it's a twin bed in a tiny room, it looks great, and the room looks and feels bigger, and it just makes you feel better. Mm-hmm. So much of this is feeling. It's emotional impact, right? So those are just some little tips that I think are good from the ancient Chinese art of feng shui that is still applicable today. Mm-hmm.
So question for you, because I think it relates. Like we've done some staging where, we stage one bedroom but not the second bedroom, mm-hmm. or we put just a desk in the second bedroom or nothing. And on the other end, when you sold your house recently, you pretty much staged the whole house. Mm-hmm. What's the logic between nothing, something small, all the way?
Yeah.
And then what are the financials that kind of marry that logic?
Good question. So we actually didn't do our whole house. We just did we didn't do anything in the basement. We did the primary bedroom, and then we did every room on the main floor. So our office, study, dining room, living room, great room, and kitchen were all done and staged. And then they did little touches in the bathrooms and some of those smaller spaces, and then the primary bedroom. But then the secondary bedrooms were all vacant, and we had the basement vacant. And so the most important areas in your home are where you want to focus staging efforts. And staging has gotten more expensive. I mean, it used to be like $1,500, and now on average, I think it's $2,500 to $3,000 most of the time. And so because of that, we just decided based on cost to save and try to focus on those best areas of the home. And that's what most stagers will do, like a 5-room special plus the primary bedroom sort of a thing. And that's the areas that they focus on. But those tend to do the best as far as staging goes. That's a great question. Awesome. And then I think just last thing we should mention is like the overall like brightness, like light, bright feel, right? So like homes that have more windows, natural light is your best friend when you're showing a house. And then light bulb light is your second best friend. And so you want to have lights that are, not like beaming where you're like got to squint to go inside the house, right? But like really bright bulbs.
We're not talking medical grade.
Maybe not 140 lumens, but like 70.
Do you know what light color is better? You know what I'm talking about? So there's like the soft yellow, there's like soft white.
To me is the most natural.
Yeah, I've used daylight. My wife doesn't like the daylight one because she thinks it's too white and surgical. But if we go to soft white, then it's too. I don't know if those are the ones that are too yellow, but
see, I like the natural wood where bright makes it alive, whereas Mr. White Guy is probably too bright.
It's just me. I'm the only one that likes like white quartz and like lighter paints right now.
I'm coming around.
I like both though. I think I do like the dark woods though, but
Nobody
That's
else
just me.
listening to this likes white cabinets, right? Or any like light countertops or anything
Lando,
like
when,
Let's take a
when my
poll.
mother did hers, I'm like, all right, I got to get with the program.
Chad's falling behind.
That's right. Didn't we have that conversation from
Yes,
Florida?
I sent you a photo. That's
Yeah.
all you know.
Yep. And she loves it, right?
She does.
Turned her house.
I'm sorry to take the conversation.
Way to make it all
I'm
about
really
you,
coming to
Chad.
grips with the bright white and the.
Yeah.
But to that point, like my last stager, you empower them to be what they are. They're artists. Like, what do I know? But first thing she did was take the window treatments off.
Yeah.
They were just too dark. There wasn't
Yeah.
enough natural light.
That's another thing right now. Windows are just being simplified. Simple windows. You live in a house one way to have logical shades, right? And then you sell a house a different way, totally not logical. You throw logic out the window to create emotional impact. That's just how it works sometimes. So that's a great point as far as windows go, especially the quarter shades. Those looks like, and we probably have some grandmas listening to us, which is a great thing. We love grandmas, but it does look a little dated. We could say like grandma's
We
house.
love
right?
grandmas.
We love grandmas. My kids have a grandma. I have a grandma.
I've got a couple myself.
So like it's really important to try to remove those and just fill holes and try to go more natural, simple on the windows. So awesome. Great stuff, guys. Anything else that we want to bring up on staging?
I guess just that you can put stuff in unfinished space. So that's where a lot of people end up moving things when they are selling, is into the garage or crawl
point.
space.
Yep.
Those types of areas, it's not going to ding you as much if they
Yeah.
see you have belongings in there.
I think I get that question every time I have a listing opportunity. They're like, well, where do we put it? Can we put it like in our closets? Where do we put all of our stuff? I'm like, put it in your garage. And they say, well, don't they want to see the garage? I said, yes, like if you have an unfinished basement, you can put it there as well. The unfinished areas, people usually don't tend to care so much about, like Jackson said. So
I've had this conversation when you're with your buyers, like, well, the garage is full of crap. Like, no, they emptied their house off to show you that it's best.
Yeah, you're
we
welcome.
Can give them one bay of the garage. Thank them very much. Anyway.
yeah, they could have left it all in there, and you guys would not have liked this house as much. So yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah, use those unfinished spaces to your advantage. If you're not gonna, use pods or you're not moving out vacant. So
Yep. Absolutely. And I think the other thing that is also good with staging is just bringing in life with flowers, like fresh flowers or plants do a really good job of bringing life into a home. Fruit baskets, fruit bowls on counters do a good job of that as well. So if you're trying to stage on your own, there's definitely some basic principles you could look up or lean on your agent. We take classes. Our Remax University has a lot of classes on staging and different concepts, so that we can coach people properly. But you can lean on your agent or try to look through Google to find out other tips on that.
I love plants. I love seeing plants in homes. We'd have a ton more in ours, but we have a Liam, and he's a destroyer. So
Yeah.
makes it a little bit more difficult. Plants are definitely easier when the house is vacant, but yeah.
Yeah, and the last two things I would say are mirrors can make a room look much bigger,
Oh, yeah.
right? And so they can really help you out. So adding mirrors where appropriate is really good, especially framed mirrors are really in right now with
Those
straight edges.
those like freestanding mirrors that you just kind of lean on the walls. Those are
Yep.
a big deal right
Makes
now.
the room look twice as big.
Oh yeah, huge.
So that's a great idea. And then last but not least, clean. Like cleanliness is just the key to life when you're showing your home, light and clean. And people just have a whole different experience when they walk through a house like that. And we see it on the feedback, as far as that goes. Just when homes are well prepared, they go faster and they go for more money. And so it's definitely worth prepping your home the right way.
And you'll definitely get the feedback when it's not prepped the right way.
Yeah, you will hear that.
Oh
feedback
my
too.
gosh. Even more so than it, you get when it is clean.
Yeah, we saw a home where the buyers loved it. We're super happy. We're talking about how much they liked it. And the buyer's mother went and started wiping her finger and saying, oh, there's dust here. They didn't clean this. And
Sales
just
prevention
completely
team.
changed how they felt about it. And,
Yeah.
you could clean the house and it would still be the exact same. But just that emotional appeal really affects people.
Yeah. I mean, when we say buyers buy on emotion, that's the perfect example, right? Like they love the house, and because it's not clean, which would take like $200, they don't buy it.
Yeah, don't get me started on bringing dads to inspection. You want to talk about it's like emotion. Jeez.
Hey, we love it when dads come to inspection, Spencer.
Yeah,
best.
we all love dad. We love dads.
Yeah. The sales
like
prevention
grandmas.
team, we can make them part of our team as long as we handle that properly. But
Sometimes.
yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's it, right? Anything else you guys want to add?
No, that sums it up. That's pretty good.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Remember to subscribe to our channel or to get in touch with us if you're looking to prep your home for sale, especially since it's springtime right now and it's listing season. Please use those links below to either reach out via text or phone call or schedule an appointment on Calendly, and we can set up a time to talk. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. So if you have enjoyed what you're listening to and you'd like to hear more, make sure to press that subscribe button so that you can not miss out on any more episodes that are coming up. And also check out all of our contact information is below. You can see us at the dreamsmithteam.com to look up more information about our team and our history and all of the members of our team and see contact information that you can reach us if you have any real estate needs.
See you next time.